What if it's your family? Do we believe that you can cut off your, people in your family, or should family always be just boundary set? Or do you think both can be true?
The rule for me applies to anybody. Anybody can get it. Period. I'm just being honest. Like it applies.
I just didn't expect that to be the way you answered it.
Anybody can get it.
Welcome to Fridays with Tab and Chance. I'm Tabitha Brown. This is my husband.
Chance, what's up?
Bring the beat in. Fridays, Fridays with Tab and Chance. Hold
on, stop. Okay, look, we need consistency. You didn't start the snap.
Oh, I was trying not to snap today, so I didn't snap.
You can't let your mood affect all the people who need this video. Don't be selfish, all right? Let's get this going. Let's do your part. You ready?
Fridays with Tab and Chance. Fridays with Tab and Chance. I'm just thinking, you used to not even want me to do the snap.
No, I told you to do the snap when I needed you to do the snap. No, you bring it in late. You inconsistent.
I usually bring it in the beginning.
Yeah,
But then you wanted me to bring it in late, and I just brought it in late. And you. All right.
Tab, you in a bad mood.
I'm not in a bad mood.
No, you in a bad mood.
I'm in a valid mood. I'm in a valid mood. You know why? Because when people do certain things to shift you, you have to be present in what that mood shifted to. And it's a valid mood that I have shifted to.
Not a bad mood, right?
Not bad. It's a valid one. It ain't like, I'm excited that people try to take advantage of me.
You are in a valid bad mood.
I'm not in a bad mood. I'm in a valid mood because this leads us to a great topic for today. When do we cut people off versus just setting boundaries? Is that a difference? Can we set boundaries without cutting people off? Or is cutting people off the boundary? Or where's a good medium? Like, when do we do which one of them? Do we set boundaries? When do we cut folk off? Which one works? When does it work? Why does it work? Why do we have to do it? What do we think? What do you think, babe? Because, I've never, ever been good at cutting people off. And boy, I probably should learn how to do it. I do know that I've recently learned how to set boundaries, but because my, love for people, I am often taken advantage of. But I know you are the king of cutting people off and setting a boundary. Tell us how you do that magical thing that you do. How do you do that, baby? And when do you do it?
When?
Yeah, like when do you know that you need to cut somebody off versus just setting a boundary?
When they can be harmful to me or my family or things that I love. When they show no regard for me.
Mm-hmm. That's a cutoff.
That's a cutoff.
Got
for
it.
Me.
You just made that so clear for me.
Because it's really that simple for me. It really is that simple for me. But I do a lot of work. What do you call it? I do most of the work in the beginning stages. Prior to bringing you into a certain place, I'm filling you out to see if you can sustain. If you are suitable in a certain space to share a certain space with me. And like I think I've said in prior videos, I think my upbringing as an only child prepared me for that. I've learned to gravitate to things to where I don't really need a whole lot of people. Right?
Makes sense, yeah.
So,
But in saying that about family, I think it's important because I always see this comment when I do videos and stuff. People always say, "But Tad, what if it's your family? Do we believe that you can cut off your, people in your family, or should family always be just boundaries set? Or do you think both can be true?"
I feel like the rule for me applies to anybody. Anybody can get it. Period. I'm just being honest. Like it applies.
I just didn't expect that to be the way you answered it.
Anybody can get it.
Okay.
Anybody can get it. Now, within consideration of my son is 11, right? I'm never going to cut him off. My daughter's 22, right? I'm never going to cut her off. My other daughter, she's almost 30. I'm never going to just be like, slice, done with you, right? However, as you get older, you're not going to be treated like you're 22. You're not going to be treated like you're 11, right? Now, the bloodline does make a difference in terms of how much grace I give you and if I'm going to look in your direction, right? But there will come a point to where I will say, hey, look, you're an adult. You know better. You are potentially causing harm to me and the rest of the family. And I can put a hard line it will feel like you're cut off, right? Because of that hard line. But it's all the same to me. It's all the same. It's not like, hey, you get away with doing something, stabbing me in the back or saying something hurtful to me, and I'll allow you to keep doing it because we're blood. The only thing that will allow even my kids to do that is your age and your maturity. And if you're capable of taking care of yourself. This ain't my mom, this anybody. This is how I just look at it. It's like, hey, look, just because we blood, I'm not going to let you hurt me and continue to hurt me. It's just that's just how I'm built. Now, my son, somebody who is still under my supervision, he needs me in a way that you don't need me. You're an adult. I'm not responsible for you. So that's just how I look at it.
So what does the boundary look like versus the cutoff look like? Because you said it's a hard line, so and that's not a cutoff. So what does that boundary look like?
So I'm trying to think of a way, right, to not just focus on family, but to just say,
I mean, not just with family, with anybody.
With anybody, right? So look, one of the more sensitive topics, right, that we talked about off camera was religion, right? I did have a friend who he did not believe in God, and I know in today, we were young, we've since then lost touch. He's living his life on the other side of the country. And it had nothing to do with his beliefs and why we lost touch. We just grew apart as we got older. But I know in today's day, somebody who is a believer and somebody who's a non-believer, I would venture to say that the majority, that they can't exist in the same world. They can't be friends. It doesn't bother me, right? Because where that boundary would be set is on that topic, right? It's not my job to try to turn you into a believer by constantly preaching to you or educating you on what I think. If you're interested and you ask me questions, and I'm a believer, right? If I'm a believer, I feel like it's my job to answer your questions with patience, right? That's where the boundary is, right? It's like, I'm going to respect your position, right? Whether I agree with it or not, I'm not trying to change you, right? And I hope that our relationship is not solely based off of religion.
Right.
So why would I cut you off because you have different thinking than me, right? And from my own experiences and from me not growing up in a religious household or, being a church going person, and how I came to be a believer, I don't think that the God that I serve would want me to carry about in that fashion and start cutting people off or not being their friends. So where I would cut you off in that same scenario is where you did the opposite. If that person was trying to turn me into a non-believer, and I saw that you were, every time we met, this is what your focus was to change my thinking, right? If we are at a basketball game and you can't even focus on the game and all you want to talk about is that, if in every situation all you can focus on is that, and now you have become more of a nuisance, and all I think about when your name is brought up is that's where it's like, this ain't no fun. Yeah, this ain't no fun. And I'm okay with confronting that. I'm the person that will cut you off and tell you, hey man, we ain't got nothing in common. Mm-hmm. I thought we had this in common, whatever. You know what I mean? And all you want to talk about is you don't believe, right? That's how I look at it.
I 100% agree with what you said. But I do, like your first statement, I think you proved that statement is not true, that people can be friends, right? Mm-hmm. Unless something like that starts to happen. Yep. Of course, I have several friends who are not of the same, belief as me, right? I'm Christian, but I have friends who are Muslim. I do have friends that don't believe or that are atheists, right? Buddhists, all different types. And to me, I think that to know someone and also to just live your life as an example, you ain't ever got to try to force your belief on them, right? So that's me. I have been I've had encounters where people have come up to me and said, I have been atheist my whole life, but I really want to know the God that you talk about. Like, I really want to learn how to pray and talk to God because of you, right? It's not because I've been trying to force it on nobody. Mm-hmm. It's literally just me living my life as an example. And so I think if we do that based on what you just said, that's how people can develop great, long friendships without having to cut people off or even create a weird boundary in a friendship. Right. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. I do know my own personal struggles with like the boundary settings when it comes to like family or close friends, because my heart just be feeling bad. I'd be like, oh, well, maybe I need to help them, or maybe, maybe they need me, or you know what I'm saying? Like, I always kind of venture back of like, let me check in on them, or let me reach out. And I've had to work on that over the years. However, once I get, what you always say about me, when I get, you be like, there go my wife right there. Once I've been burned, like, and I get to a real place of like, oh, I see how you was really trying to hurt me. That's when it's easy for me to be like, all right, I gotta go ahead and release you and let it go. And that's been something I've really had to use discernment in, right? Because a lot of times, God will show me something different in a person's life, and I'll feel like, oh, my assignment, I gotta help this person. But what I realized that God was trying to show me, this is why you gonna have to let this person go, because they got this happening in their life, and it doesn't serve you well. And I used to get those two confused, which is why it was hard for me to set boundaries, I think, or to cut people off. But now I realize that they are two different things. And there are some people that I love dearly that I used to think I had to cut off, but now I realize, oh, wait, no, I can set a boundary. Now, this is where the thing gets interesting. When you set the boundary, those people get mad sometimes. Like, sometimes people don't respect your boundaries, and they'll think that, because you set a boundary, oh, you acting funny.
Or it's a title or a label associated with it. You're a zist. Huh? You're a...
Oh, yeah, anything. Like, they just... Yeah,
there's titles that come with boundaries.
Some people respect them.
Yeah.
But the people that I find that don't respect them also don't have boundaries in their life. They're all over the place, right? They pull and push and push, and they don't have any boundaries within themselves, and so they can't respect yours. but it's so important that we have them, right? I think that both are very much so needed. And I think the most powerful thing you said was like when to know to cut somebody off, because I get asked that often. You said when it's harmful, like when it's somebody who can hurt you, when they're harmful to your well-being, and that includes family, that includes mothers, fathers, children, sisters, brothers, grandmas. Like, as Shan said, honey, anybody can get it, right? No one is off limits when it comes to your well-being, right? There's people who have been abused or molested by family members, and they've been told, well, that's your aunt, or that's your uncle, that's your mama, that's your daddy. You got to forgive them. No, you forgive them for you, but that doesn't mean that they have to stay in your life. It doesn't mean you got to keep inviting them back in when you know it's harmful for you, right? And I think a lot of times people get that whole blood thing confused with safety, confused with respect, confused with well-being. You can absolutely set a boundary if you're okay with that. If you're okay with setting a boundary with someone who has harmed you, but you can absolutely cut them off. And I think it's necessary, and I think it's okay. And you don't have to apologize for it, especially when you know the truth and everybody else know the truth as well. You don't have to apologize for that. And sometimes it takes a long time to process it and feel okay with those big decisions you have to make. Because sometimes things are routine, especially with family, going to certain like family gatherings and, things like that. And when you know that person's going to be there, you can make a decision that I'm not going, right? And the family might be upset about it. And you may even feel upset because they've chosen a person that you know good and well. Everybody know that person is harmful for the family, but they still keep inviting that person over. But you have to make a decision for yourself and for your own well-being. So while two things are completely different, boundaries and cutting them off, both can be very useful for you in your life and your well-being. That's kind of how I look at that.
Me too.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
you said something earlier, and I'm kind of like trying to decide if I want to go down this road. There's we use religion as a topic, right? There's so many other topics that you can speak about in regards to cutting people off, boundaries, canceling people, and your beliefs, and how we view it. Mainly, I think we covered it. Well, what we are pretty much saying is that just because you don't believe something, right, or because you do believe something, and you have something that thing in common, or you don't have it in common, it shouldn't be the defining point in your relationship.
And if it is, then that relationship
ain't
really built on much of nothing. You ain't got no foundation, which I think is a bigger conversation that you need to have, right? It's crazy. We have friends that we literally had to, unfortunately, cut off. And when I started it hurt me so bad, right? And there's been many, but there's one particular couple that we used to do so much with. And when the time came that we had to cut them off, it still hurts me to this day. But when I think about it, the foundation of it was only us hanging out and having fun together. It wasn't built on anything real, right? And so, which is why conflict always was happening. And there was always something that didn't feel quite right because the foundation wasn't really built on truth, real love, real support. It was a kind of a one-sided friendship that I thought I was, getting back what I was putting in. But when it came like full circle, I realized oh wait, it was only, I believed that they was doing the same in return, but it wasn't. And so at first I thought a boundary would be okay. But when the option presented itself, I realized, oh no, the boundary is not enough. This has to be, you got to be done with it. But it was because the foundation was not really built on anything that would make it last. So sometimes those hard decisions have to be made, but also we got to tell ourselves the truth. We got to look at relationships for what they are, people for who they are. Look at ourselves for who we are. Like, am I contributing to somebody's life? Are they contributing to me? Like, am I adding value to somebody? Sometimes, and this right here, this is going to be a real situation I'm about to say. Okay? Sometimes you got to ask yourself, do I need to cut myself off from them? Not you cutting them off. Am I good for them? Because maybe I'm tearing their life up. Maybe I'm messing up something that they got going on.
Or I know I'm sensitive in this subject of where their lifestyle is, and I'm not good for them.
Right. Maybe are you hating on them? Yeah. Like, you got to ask yourself, man, am I hating? Am I jealous? Man, I'm going to have to pull back for a little bit.
Am I damaged as a result of something that happened to me, around me from my childhood, and does this remind me of that?
Right.
And have I handled it yet?
Am I affected by watching somebody else heal? Mm-hmm. Why is this disturbing me? You understand? So that happens so often.
Oh,
where we watch people.
We got one more.
Oh, okay.
One more.
But I'm just saying it happens so often.
Am I insecure?
Am I insecure? But it's all plays a role.
Yeah, am I insecure here?
And we've all been there. If we're honest with ourselves, we can all say to ourselves, like we got to check ourselves sometime. And then sometimes we can check ourselves and know that, okay, I got something I need to work on because maybe I'm a little sensitive in that area. Mm-hmm. But if you see that you are starting to intentionally try to damage someone's name, intentionally be mean to them, have an attitude,
challenge them all the time. Make them the butt of your jokes.
Right. Just start doing things that are not necessarily your norm because they're in a new season. We're going to have to look at ourselves. Right? So, and it also goes for people like even in like back to the religious aspect. Have you gotten to a place where you think you so holy that you can't even encourage somebody in where they at? Because God gonna meet you where you are. But have you got so holy that you forgot what God's assignment is on our life? Right? So sometimes we got to look at ourselves and say, man, I done got to the point where I'm so holy. I'm only judging people. I ain't even trying to lead them in. Why is everybody fleeing away from me?
I've never understood that.
We're going to have to do some self-work. We're going to have to do some self-work. Right? So sometimes the cutoff ain't because of what the other people doing. Sometimes it's because what we doing ourselves. So sometimes that cutoff or that boundary, and sometimes you can set a boundary for yourself while you work on you. So then when you come out of whatever you're in, you'll be a better friend, better family member. You'll be better. And you can explain to people, listen, I got some work I got to do on myself right now. And I ain't going to be around for a little bit. Or you also don't even have to explain that. You can go do the work on yourself, and then when you come back, then you can let them know, man, I had some things happening, and I had to get myself together. I hope you can, forgive me, and, I'm sorry I went ghost or whatever the case is, and you cross that bridge when you get to it. But honesty in all of this is key. Honesty in, do I need to set a boundary for myself or because of somebody else? Or do I need to cut off someone or myself? But we got to be honest with ourselves in both situations. Yeah?
Yep. I feel like you cleared out some stuff in there today. Like you got it.
I think a lot of times people just assume that because I'm very intentional with my joy. I'm intentional with how I treat people. I'm intentional with how I treat myself. My mission is always to spread love and to be loved and be kind to people. And because of that, I think people don't think that I have bad days or that I'm affected by things because I am on I'm always talking about, I'm always encouraging other people and I've been on a healing journey. But when you're on a healing journey and you are uncovering new things within yourself all the time, we easily triggered. Like things don't feel well. People also start to not feel well. And I'm human and it happens to me too. And there's some days where I just be like, man, I ain't really with it, and I got to be honest. And so today was one of them days. But this does feel great to have this conversation,
Who you want to cut off?
I don't want to cut nobody off right now.
I can do it. Tell you exactly how to do it.
I know you can. But it's just people in general. I feel like I don't need to cut off nobody, but I definitely need to set more boundaries, to protect my peace, to protect my mental health. More boundaries have to be set. It's like the more we grow and become successful, what other people's image of us, it changes. And I'm not in control of how other people think about us or me. That's on them, however they create a thought in their head. But I know who I am. So I have to set my own boundaries to keep myself protected and my family. That make sense? Mm-hmm. I don't know, Chance. You trying to push me, and
No,
you trying to push
saying,
me.
but I'm letting you get this all off your chest. I thought we was just talking about it in general, but
We is talking about it in general. This also applies to business.
It's like you talking.
You can set boundaries in business too. You set boundaries at work.
All right.
With the people that you work with, and because sometimes let me tell you this, them not your friends. Y'all just work together. Okay, ain't no friendship. Y'all are in business together, baby. Y'all are co-workers. Okay? So don't get so caught up in that thing that you think that y'all are friends. Ask yourself this, have y'all ever went out to eat, to dinner with as a family? Like, do you know they family? Do y'all call each other? Outside of work? Like, there's sometimes you make some great friends, lifelong friends. I have some that you work with. But then there's some that you got to set a boundary, honey. We just work together.
Or they set the boundary and you ignored it.
That too. They told you who they were.
Because of your kindness, they showed you exactly who they were. And you just sped over that boundary.
Honey, it didn't happen to me so many times. But
you know how many times I had to tell somebody after they see that we did something? They'd be like, man, I seen online that your birthday party, man, how come you ain't invite me? And then kind of look at them like,
I ain't never, I
don't know you, bro.
I don't really know you like that.
I don't really know you like that. Me and you, we play ball together, right?
Right, but I ain't even got your number outside.
I was like, even if I got your number.
Right, but it's for ball.
It's to call you to hoop.
Yeah.
Right? Because people lose sight of that, and I think we will too. At times you'll.
Oh, I definitely have lost sight of it.
Yeah, you'll lose sight of it.
I get excited about it.
Right? You realize that you don't mean any harm. You're thinking, I don't mean any. I'm a good person. We always assume that our involvement is desired or they want it, and then when you're not included or you forget one of those or you ignore the obvious signs, people's feelings get hurt. You just have to be reminded of it. But yeah. All right. Well, this has been
very, very true.
This has been a good one.
Y'all set them boundaries out there, and if you need to, if you must, cut them off. As Teddy Pendergrass would say, cut them off instead of turn them off.
Turn off the lights.
That's what I need tonight. Light a candle.
We got plenty of candles.
You were supposed to sing it.
Nah, I ain't singing.
You were supposed to hear
I'll sing it for you tonight. I hit all the notes you want.
You want to hit on? See, you being that. Y'all didn't catch what he did to that eyebrow just now. JR, you see, I want the one that started that. Tia, y'all see the chance me saying I don't want to be being nasty.
I was talking about a song. You said that's what I need tonight.
And then you said I'm going to hit all of the notes.
I'm going to hit all the notes. I'm going to sing the song for you.
I see your eyes. Y'all see them lines right there, y'all? When he lying, when he trying to, see? Bring the beat in.
All right. Close it out, babe. You done got this all out your system.
Well, that's it. We love y'all. And until the next time, y'all gonna watch y'all business. And have the most amazing day. But even if you can't have a good one, don't you dare go messing up nobody else's here. All right. Very good. God bless y'all. Bye. Peace. Thank y'all for watching. And don't forget to click here for more episodes.
And don't forget to subscribe to the channel.
Very good.